Greetings, Mantreads here, and here's what I think would be maybe the worst loadout for the soldier. You can see Cow Mangler, Mantreads, and the stock shovel. So, why these weapons? Well, let's go over the weapons one at a time, starting with the primary. I can immediately say that I did not consider the rocket jumper because it would in many ways be a composite. It's a training tool that does no damage. It can be used in some gimmicky circumstances like soldiers and that, but when I'm going to go through the worst loadouts, I will try to actually focus on the real weapons, so to say, and out of them, well, I end up with the Cow Mangler. Now, some people may certainly hold the Liberty Launcher in low regard, but the thing with the Liberty Launcher and all others is, well, while they have their drawbacks, they also have their upsides, and really that's the main problem with the Cow Mangler. It doesn't really have enough upsides to really... Well, its upsides doesn't really matter enough considering its downsides. Let's take the first one, which is actually the small one, which it doesn't use any ammo, which the main problem there is, of course, you generally shouldn't actually. You're generally not going to run out of ammo if you are doing things properly, or if you're really bad and die immediately. It can be useful at some times, but its main use would actually be that you are not going to pick up some ammo that a friendly engineer or other teammates might have wanted to pick up instead, so there's that. It's a pretty minor advantage. Now the big thing, it's the right click, that you are using up all your loaded for rockets, if you want to call the things you are firing rockets. You fire all of them, you are move very slowly, shortly, it's fire all, does mini crit damage and set people on fire. It's very fun. It disables buildings, which can be handy sometimes. But yeah, it's a fun thing. It should be noted that it's not something they are going to use in. It's going to be useful in some circumstances, but most of the time you're just going to fire the rockets. Well, like normal rockets, it's going to do more damage that way. Probably if you're in a close fight with someone, going to charge shot will take time, make you an easy target while it's charging up, and then you will do less damage than you would do with 2 rockets. Even if you fired 2 rockets, you would still have 2 other rockets. So yeah, but the thing is, it's mini crit damage. It does not suffer from damage fall off. So if you are a reasonable distance away, the enemies, especially if the enemies are clumped up, especially if moving through a choke point or standing next to the cart or something, it can actually be useful. There's also, if they are clumped in a center nest, you can disable buildings while setting some people on fire, depending on exactly where it hits. Well, of course, while it does have some uses and it's fun to use, certainly, but then we must consider the disadvantages of the weapon. But let's begin with the reload time. The first rocket you reload, when you start reload, it takes slightly longer than it would do for the stock rocket launcher, while all the subsequent rockets are reloaded at the same rate. The first one, well, it has to take longer time. It can be a problem sometimes, and most of the time you're not going to notice it, so not really a big thing, but it's there. So then we have the big downside. Reduced damage to buildings. Cow Mangler, it doesn't deal with buildings well. Sure, you can disable them, but most of the time, if you are in a position where you can disable them, you could have just as well just, well, destroy them immediately with another rocket launcher. There are some situations where that's not really possible, and where disabling them can allow your team to actually move in closer and actually get the job done, but that's not really going to happen that often. So basically, if there are a bunch of engineers on the other team, you will have a problem with when you are using the Cow Mangler. Here in this video, as I'm using it on defense, I'm generally getting by and not having to deal with that problem, which is a good thing when playing on defense. As you saw in the starting clip, I also played the offense, but I decided to have the defensive gameplay in the background for most of the time, since it shows off actually the fact that the Cow Mangler can actually be useful in some circumstances. But if the reduced damage to buildings weren't enough, it has two other downsides. One thing is no random crits, which no random crockets that you can live with and not getting them. But there's the other part, it can't be crit boosted. That is a real problem. It's really not a good thing. It's annoying when they're using the Cow Mangler, and it's really annoying if you're playing a medic in a situation where you would like to use the crit streak, or if you have the crit streak and you see a soldier and the soldier is using the Cow Mangler, or if you are playing soldier using Cow Mangler and you get a medic decides, oh, you're maybe no one else is playing a good class, or you're maybe even the best player on the team, and he decides to more or less stick to you because, well, you are going to do the most work, and you're using Cow Mangler, he's using the crit streak. You really hope that he knows that the crit streak won't do anything for the Cow Mangler. Really, main problem I have with the downside is it's annoying for the soldier, but it's really punishes the medic even more, I think. So yeah, I really don't like that part. Although one thing you can note is that while it can't be crit boosted, it can actually deal mini crits outside the secondary fire. So if you are using the buff banner, you can actually get the benefits from that. I didn't know that until it was quite some time ago. I decided to try to make a silly video about using this together, since I wouldn't get the mini crits, and I noticed that I could get the mini crits. So there's that. Not all bad. So that's what's about the Cow Mangler. But what about the other weapons? Well, the Mantreads. Well, what can I say about the Mantreads? I think they're completely useless. That's one thing they have. Two stats. The obvious, which is the smallest one, which is if you are land on someone, if you are traveling from such a height that you would have taken fall damage. You don't take that fall damage, but the falling damage that you would have taken is triple and delivered to the enemy you landed on. Not exactly a reliable way to actually deal damage, certainly. More gimmicky than anything. But the really important thing about Mantreads is its reduction in push force, so enemies can't push you around. While it can be occasionally useful, most of the time it's not going to matter. It's definitely not something that's worth sacrificing your secondary for. So all in all, Mantreads, bloody useless. As for a melee weapon go, I was actually thinking about using the Equalizer, but it can actually occasionally be more useful. Since if you are injured, which is the most likely circumstance when you're actually fighting someone hand-to-hand as a soldier, you're going to do more damage. all the others they have utility, although the paint ring is not useful on defense. I can certainly say that. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.